Hello everyone, welcome back again to Chinmoy's Biology channel to yet another new episode of your revision question paper what we were doing. So today we are going to revise your fourth lesson with a same pattern of question and answers, and it will be a very important lesson for you all. So it's for pollination and fertilization, and previously we have done flower structure and function. We have done about the first lesson cell and the second lesson tissue. I hope you all have gone through all the lessons. If you have not yet gone through those, I'll be putting the link in the description box below. So please do go through it, and let's get started with a fresh revision question paper of pollination and fertilization. Now the first section is very short answer type question. So we all know that it is 1 mark each, and I have given you 5 questions. So let us see what are the questions. First one is what is pollination? Then comes what are the name 2 types of pollination. Then comes what is male gamete in plants called. What is the stigma's function during pollination? Where does fertilization occur in a flower? So these are the questions. So we all know the answers, but I'll also discuss with you the answers what you should write for your test. Let us see what are the answers. So what is pollination? The transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of a flower is called pollination. Now you should write this in a complete sentence. I have just written the hints of the answer you should give. Now name the name the 2 main types of pollination. The first one is self-pollination and the second one is cross-pollination. What is the male gamete in plants called? It is called the pollen grain. Okay. Now what is the stigma's function during pollination? The stigma's function during pollination is to receive the pollen and to help it to germinate. Okay, is it clear? Now, where does fertilization occur in a flower? So, fertilization always occurs in an ovary in a flower. So, where does fertilization occur? It occurs in a ovary in a flower. Okay. So, now we will move on to the next section of questions. So, section B is multiple choice question, that is 1 mark each into 5 marks. So, 5 questions, 5 marks. So, the first question is the fusion of the male gamete and the female gametes are called, the fusion of the male and the female gametes are called germination, pollination, fertilization or propagation. So the male and the female gametes are called fertilization. We all know that the fusion of the male and the female gamete, it happens, and then that process is called fertilization. Now an example of wind pollinated plant is what? Rose, lotus, sunflower. No, wind pollinated flower, the main example is maize. We have learnt earlier also, right? So here are more 3 questions are there. Let us see those. Which part grows into the fruit after fertilization? So which part will grow into a fruit? Ovule, petal, ovary, stigma. So ovary will grow into a fruit after fertilization. Okay. So next comes cross pollination occurs between same flower, same plant, different plants of different species, different plants of same species. We all know that cross pollination occurs between different plants of same. So this is one plant and this is one plant. So cross pollination will occur between different plants but of the same species. So these are different plants. Okay, plant 1 and plant 2, but they are of the same species. So we all know that they are different plants but they are of the same species. Right? Is it clear to all of you? So if you are confused with this cross pollination and self pollination and all, you should go and see the lesson where I have taught the full lesson in detail. So please refer to that. I will be putting the link in the description box. So go through that once and then it will be clear for you to answer the questions. So next comes pollen tube grows from the ovule style pollen grain or anther. So pollen tube should always grow from the pollen grain. So this is the answer. So answers I have given here. You can just go through it and do a cross checking of with your answers. Okay. First one is fertilization. So fusion of the male and the female gamete was the question. Fertilization. Second one is wind pollinated plant is maize. Third one is the swollen part, something like that, of the plant, that flower is the ovary, And then comes the cross pollination, different plants of the same species, and the fifth one is the pollen grain. So this one. Now we will move on to the next type of question. Now here section C is short answer type questions. So 2 marks each question will have, and 5 questions are there. It will be 10 marks total. So first question is define fertilization in plants. Name 2 agents of pollination and give 1 example for each. What are the 2 types of self-pollination? And what are the advantages of cross-pollination? State any 2 adaptations in flowers for insect pollination. So very easy general questions these are direct questions, so you should know the answers of all this. So I'll be discussing the answers. If you don't want the answers, you just write the questions and write the answers on your own, but let me show you my answers. So what is fertilization in plants? The fusion of the male and the female gametes to form a zygote is fertilization. So wind, the name 2 agents of pollination and give 1 example. So through wind pollination, maize plant is getting pollinated, and insect pollination, hibiscus plant is getting pollinated. So what are the 2 types of self-pollination? Autogamy and jeitonogamy. Okay, autogamy and jeitonogamy are the 2 types of self-pollination. Now what are the advantages of cross-pollination? Advantages are, first one is genetic variation, and second one is the stronger offspring is formed during cross-pollination. So these are the 2 main advantages of cross-pollination. So state any 2 adaptations in flowers for insect pollination. So 2 adaptations should be the brightly colored petals, sweet fragrance, and nectar. So they should have brightly colored petals so that the insects get attracted to these flowers. Then they should have sweet fragrance, so that is another attracting property. They'll attract, and they should have sweet nectar. So for drinking this nectar only, the insects will come and sit on the flowers. So 3 main 2 adaptations, but I have given you 3 in flowers for insect pollination are these 3. Okay, so next one. Now short answer type question, that was 1, and this is short answer type question 2. Okay, so differentiate between self-pollination and cross-pollination. Describe the journey of a pollen from the stigma to the ovule, and what happens to the following parts after fertilization. So what happens to ovary, what happens to ovules, and what happens to the petals. So ovary, it is, we all know that ovary is forming the fruit part. So after fertilization, it is forming the fruit. Ovule is forming the seeds. And what do petals do? Petals actually, they wither and they fall away. So wither and fall away after fertilization. So they wither and fall away after fertilization. So differentiate between self-pollination and cross-pollination. Let us see the answers here. Now describe the journey of a pollen tube from a stigma to an ovule. You all know this, that full process you should discuss in a brief, because 3 marks we are having. We will discuss in brief. So let us see that what are the answers. Now we come to the difference of self-pollination and cross-pollination. Okay. So what is self-pollination? We know that it happens in the same plant or same flower, and cross-pollination, it occurs in the different plants of different flowers. So genetic variation in self-pollination, there is no genetic variation. In cross-pollination, there is a genetic variation. Okay. Now next comes the pollen wastage. Okay, the pollen wastage is actually minimal in self-pollination but very high in cross-pollination. So these are the 3 main differences in self-pollination and within cross-pollination, right? So let us move on to the next answer. So here the question was describe the journey of a pollen grain from stigma to ovule. So the answer will be in this pattern. So it is actually this diagram which will be described in this answer. So what will happen here? First, we know that after the generative nucleus of the pollen is dividing into by mitosis into 2 male gametes or nuclei, which are called the sperm nuclei, right? The pollen grain with this tube containing 2 male gametes. This tube contains 2 male gametes. It is entering here through the micropyle, And the ovule inside here, it contains the egg cell, right? And inside the embryo, when this male gametes they enter, what is happening? The two male gametes are entering, so one male gamete is getting fused with the egg, so then the zygote is formed. So one fertilization has happened, so in one the zygote is formed, one male gamete is having fused with the, so one male gamete is fusing with the egg cell, one egg cell, and that is forming the zygote. And next another, what is happening? Then the another male gamete, it is fusing with the diploid secondary nucleus. So it is fusing with the diploid secondary nucleus. It is fusing with the diploid secondary nucleus. Okay, and this is helping to form the endosperm. So here zygote is formed and here endosperm is formed. So this full process you should write in 3 different points, and then we can say that this process is called double fertilization. And what is happening here? So here double fertilization is happening. So this full in gist in small points you should write, as you are in 9th grade. 3 marks question, so that should at least have few basic points to give you the answer. So this will be the answer of this. So last one was what is happening when after fertilization to the ovary. I told you it becomes the fruit, then comes ovule becomes seed, and comes petals withers and falls off. So this is the answer to all the 3 questions. So here comes section E, the long answer type question. They are 5 marks each with 2 questions, 10 marks. So the first question is express the process of fertilization in flowering plants with a neat label diagram. Okay, now second one is write a short note on pollination, include its types, agents, importance and differences, right? So the first one answer, just now I have explained how the pollen grain is falling on stigma, and the pollen tube, it is carrying 2 male gametes, it is entering the ovule, and it is entering, and it is having through the micropyle, and there it is first of all it is fertilizing with the egg, and it is forming the zygote, and it is then again fertilizing the secondary nuclei, and it is forming a endosperm. Okay, so this process is called double fertilization, and we can say that this process of double fertilization, it is also called as a triple fusion. Why? Because 3 nuclei are involved in this fusion. So as a result, a diploid zygote is formed and a triploid endosperm nucleus are formed. So it is a triple fusion, a diploid zygote and a triploid nucleus is also being formed. So this is called a double fertilization. So it is also we can say that this is the main process of fertilization in flowering plants. So is it clear to all of you? Now here we should include the diagram which I have shown you in the previous slide. Okay, so you should include that diagram. That is a very important diagram and you should include that. Now next comes write a short note on pollination. So first you will define pollination, then you will write the type, self and cross pollination, then you will write the agents, wind, insect, water and animals, then you will write the importance of pollination, that is it leads to fertilization, seed and fruit, then you should write the difference table, that is self and cross pollination briefly. So then it will complete a 5 marks question. Okay, so this is also will be a big question, 5 marks, and this is also a big question, 5 marks. Okay, so 5 marks each question. Now we will move on to assertion and reasoning. Now comes the last section of your questionnaire session, that is assertion and reasoning. So the first assertion is fertilization results in the formation of seeds. Male gamete fuses with petal. So the first fertilization is resulting in the formation of seeds. That is actually correct. But the male gamete fuses with the petal. That is extremely wrong thing. So we will write that A is true and R is false. So A is true and R is false. This one is wrong. So this is assertion and reasoning. If you have gone through the previous three videos, previous three questionnaire session, you have already understood what is assertion and what is reasoning. If assertion and reasoning are true, you will write that assertion is true and reasoning is also true, and R or reasoning is explaining A. If they are not like that, you will choose the second option, that A and R are true but R does not explain A. And if A is true and R is false, you will select the third option. And if A is false and R is true, you will select the fourth option. So this is all what we are going to do here. So next, let us see what is there. Now, the second assertion in reasoning is when pollinated flowers are small and they produce large amounts of pollens. Now, this is actually true. They depend on the air currents for pollination. So, as they are wind pollinated flower, they will have to depend on the air current for pollination. So, this is also correct and this is also correct. So, both A and R are true and R is explaining A. So, this is correct. Now, the third question is self-pollination reduces variation. It occurs within the same flower or plant. So this is also true, because in cross pollination the variation is more, in self pollination it is less, and it occurs within the same flower of the plant. So it is occurring, R is explaining A. So this is also correct. So R is explaining A is also correct. Okay, is it clear? So this is all for today's questionnaire session. Hope you all have liked today's questionnaire session, and you will be waiting for more and more such interesting episodes to come, as well as your lessons. So your second lesson is germination of seeds, which I have already posted. So please do go through it, and if you are having your exams, please do revise all the lessons, all the questionnaire papers which I have given you. So stay tuned, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to write comments in the comment box. If you are having any queries, any doubts, that also you can write in the comment box, so that I can get back to you in the next class itself. And if you are having any specific topic or doubt, that also you can write to me. So stay tuned, stay updated, do well in your exams, and I'll be meeting you soon in the next class. Thank you. Thanks a lot for watching.